So as a parent watching your once full of life teenager fade into someone that's constantly overwhelmed, they're withdrawn or anxious is absolutely heartbreaking. Because you've done the late night Google searches, you've tried therapy, maybe even considered or pursued medications, and yet that struggle still persists. What if I told you the issue isn't just psychological, and it's certainly not simply a chemical imbalance? We're facing a full blown adolescent mental health crisis. And according to the recent CDC data, 44% of American high school students report persistent sadness or unhappiness and hopelessness. Nearly 1 in 3 teen girls have seriously considered unaliving, twice the rate of boys. The response from conventional medicine is that we medicate the mood, that we manage the symptoms, that we suppress the system. But what if there's another way? A way that gets to the neurological root of why our teens are actually struggling and what actually helps them to heal. So this video is going to be for the exhausted, the worried, the heartbroken parent that's been watching their teen become someone that they barely recognize. For the families that have done everything that they were told to do and still feel like they're missing something along the way. If you're looking for answers beyond labels and beyond prescriptions, you are in the right place. Because today we're going to be exploring the real neurological roots of anxiety and depression in our teens, the critical role of our vagus nerve and autonomic imbalances like dysautonomia, and what the perfect storm of nervous system stress looks like, and the signs that your teen's nervous system is stuck. And we're going to dive straight into it with how we find and fix the true root with the insight scans and neurologically focused chiropractic care. So listen, from 2011 to 2020, teen mental health issues have doubled. And I would totally agree that it's beyond doubled post-COVID. But that's despite lower rates of alcohol usage and fewer teen pregnancies. So researchers often post to smartphones and social media as the main villain. And yes, screen time and dopamine addictions are massive factors. But the truth is, the nervous system stress often starts long before Snapchat and Discord and Minecraft and Roblox or whatever the heck these kids are doing these days. But let me show you the story that we see all too often. So a parent brings in their 15-year-old girl. She was outgoing and bubbly, and now she's quiet and anxious and constantly fatigued. She doesn't sleep. She's missed more school this semester than ever before. They've tried therapy, supplements, dietary changes, even considered antidepressants. But the mom's gut told her to dig deeper. And what happened is when we scanned her nervous system, it was clear the sympathetic system was in overdrive. Vagal tone was extremely low. Now, her body wasn't broken. It was in overprotection mode, moving into exhaustion. And that was the turning point. Within weeks of neurologically focused care, she was laughing again, she was sleeping better, and she was more like herself. So parents, let's dive into it. Remember how I said it's beyond a chemical imbalance? Traditional medicine blames depression on low serotonin, but this view is outdated because anxiety and depression often reflect dysautonomia, which is a chronic imbalance between the sympathetic fight or flight and parasympathetic rest digest branches. And when the brainstem's locked in survival, everything from digestion to sleep to emotional regulation suffers. And this creates a mismatch between the external world. Now this creates a mismatch between the external world and the internal response. Your teen's not choosing to panic. They're not choosing exhaustion or numbness. Their nervous system is stuck. Now let's talk about the vagus, because this is your teen's mood regulator. Now our vagus nerve is the main highway of the parasympathetic rest digest side of the nervous system. So it connects the brain to vital systems like our heart, our lungs, our digestion, and even plays a role with immune function, with social emotional regulation. Now, low vagal tone through the work of Dr. Stephen Porges is linked to poor emotional regulation. It's linked to gut issues, it's linked to panic attacks, and it's linked to immune system dysfunction. It also affects communication and connection or social engagement, which is why so many teens pull away from family and friends when it's impaired. Now, when this nerve is suppressed, your teen can't downshift into calm because their body interprets daily life as a threat. But here's the kicker: the perfect storm is why today's teens are so overloaded. Because it didn't start in their teenage years, it starts prenatally with maternal stress. It builds with birth trauma like vacuums and C-sections or long labors. It gets compounded by early immune system disruption and gut imbalances from medications and antibiotics and chemical overload, as well as the environmental toxins, physical traumas like falls and slips and sports injuries, sleep deprivation, dopamine addictions, and chronic strain exposure. Because all of this compromises our brain body feedback loop. And over time, stress becomes the default, and the nervous system forgets how to regulate. But parents, here's the signs that your child's nervous system is out of sync. There's sleep problems, there's frequent illness, there's low energy, there's big time gut issues that come with the mood swings, the sadness, the rage outbursts, and zero motivation, along with withdrawing from family, low grades, increased sensitivity. You're not seeing bad behavior. You're quite literally seeing a brain that's on fire because these aren't isolated symptoms. They're system wide breakdowns that all trace back to neurological overload. So you're probably asking how we actually find it. And this is the good part. We can measure the stress pattern within our nervous system. So, what these scans reveal is what no symptom tracker ever will. So, how your teen's nervous system is actually performing behind the scenes. And that's the key to lasting transformation. What you're seeing is a set of three heart rate. So, what you're seeing is a set of three heart rate variability scans in progression from initial to progress to progress. So, when we're looking at heart rate variability, we're looking at two things: our gas pedal, fight or flight, versus the parasympathetic rest digest, and then how full or how empty is the gas tank. Now, when we're talking about this simply, we're going to focus in on this one on the far left here. What you're seeing is our gas pedal stuck on and our gas tank burning through our fuel. So we've got low reserves, poor autonomic control and regulation, and a nervous system that's so dang stuck on the gas that it's burning the candle at both ends. Now, what happens when we start watching these kiddos grow, thrive, change, and become more connected and regulated is things start to progress. So if we're looking at these two, there's a big gain in that gas tank or the reserves. You can see it within the numbers too, going from 62.7 to 75, with 100 being the best. You're also seeing a big gain in balance. So where this little white dot is in relation to this big middle vertical line, going from 56.8 to 77.12. That's big change in regulation. That's big change in the impact within our nervous system functioning at its absolute best. Because heart rate variability isn't just looking at the balance, it's looking at the tone and function of our vagus nerve, that key player of our parasympathetic nervous system that we've talked so much about so before. And over the course of care, what we start to see is the hole that we're in starts to become dug out of. There's more gas in the tank. There's more slack within the rope. There's better balance and regulation neurologically. So, for all patients, but our teens especially, from here, once we understand their story, once we understand the challenges, their case history, and we get scans done to understand what's truly going on at the root within their neurology, we create specific care plans that use personalized, neurologically focused care, the adjusting protocols, and how it gets done to be able to first release the sympathetic tension and stimulate the vagus, which allows the system to reset and to rebalance. So, parents, we're not treating anxiety, we're not treating depression, we're unlocking the nervous system's built in ability to regulate, to coordinate, to calm, and to adapt and to heal. And we also coach lifestyle shifts. So, how to improve sleep, how to reduce digital overload, supporting our gut brain balance, and encouraging slow and grounding movements. It's not easy being a teen in today's chaotic world, but it doesn't have to stay this way. So the teen brain is beautifully adaptive. It's designed to heal once we remove the interference. And that's what we do. So at Haven Family Chiropractic, we've seen teen after teen go from shutdown, anxious, and exhausted to calm, connected, and confident again. Not because we masked symptoms, but because we addressed the neurological root. If you're tired of temporary fixes, and if you want to help your teen find peace without meds, it starts with the insight scans. So click the link within our bio or send our office a DM, and let's take the first step toward healing together.